Hello, I'm Courtney Cardini and welcome back to Life of a Travel Writer. If you haven't been here before, this is vlog 21 out of 52 as I decided for 2025 I was going to try to do a weekly vlog update to see if YouTubing is something that I would like to continue in the future. So the point of doing YouTube was to document my journey as I am currently writing my debut travel memoir, working title The 2-Year Sailor, One Woman, One Goal, 7 Continents, with my literary agent. So I signed on with my literary agent back in October, and now it is currently July 1st. And usually I was keeping up for the year with a video every Sunday, but the last time we spoke, I was in Rome, and then I was in Germany visiting my boyfriend's family, and now we are currently in Bensko, Bulgaria, because we just attended the Digital Nomad Fest, which is the largest digital nomad fest in the world. And that ended on Sunday, and now it is currently Tuesday, and as it is July 1st and the beginning of Q3, I decided to give myself the nice little challenge of doing a nightly update. So that's my goal for July, is that I would like to do like maybe a 10-minute update on how the day is going. My priorities have really shifted as it is now the middle of the year and I'm into my 1.5 year life of being a full-time traveler and working on travel writing. So my priorities have really changed. I've realized as I have reflected on this experience, I posted my first YouTube video last year in July. I actually have to check the date. I'm not sure. I just know it was July. I don't remember when. We were staying with my boyfriend's family in Germany. He always goes back in the summer. So we were in Germany and I decided that it was the halfway of my first year of working on my book, and I decided that YouTube is something that I've always wanted to do, and mostly as I find myself as I'm getting older, I really find myself wanting to create things just so that I can go back to them when I am older. And because you forget a lot of things, like I'm going to be 34 this year, and it's crazy how much you forget and how much you don't really realize that you've accomplished over the years. Like you just get so used to chasing things, and you celebrate it for maybe a few days, but then you're on to the next thing. And as someone with dyslexia and ADHD, I grew up in not a great environment educational wise, because of the fact, like in the early 90s, dyslexia wasn't something that was really understood. I mean, the first child to be diagnosed with it was a boy named Petey in the UK. And of course, that's a whole different lecture that I hope to one day discuss, and is something that I do discuss in my book. But I don't know, I think with age, people say you get softer, and I think that's true. And so my real goals and my priorities have really changed, and which is one of the reasons that I have decided to get into YouTube, is mostly for a selfish, future nostalgic reason, because I look back and I've lived in Italy twice now, and I've been blogging and everything now, and I really wish I would have created more while I was there. So that is something that I have really been reflecting on, and now that we are in July and we have 6 months left of the year, I've decided to give myself this little challenge of doing nightly updates, mostly because I feel that it takes off the pressure. I'm someone who is very into vlogging / like kind of podcast views. Like I do like the cinematic and things like that, and when people take you with them and everything, and I'm not very good at shooting at locations or anything yet, which is something that I am working on, but I really am interested in people's personal growths and how they take on challenges. So I'm into vlogs that are like this, where it's just the person speaking to you and them talking about their experience and their reflections. It comes back to the fact that I have taught myself a lot of things through books. So I think this is kind of just a style of reading a book, and I really like that. So I think that it is very important to document things and create things, and I'm really interested to see how my video and editing skills are going to improve over the years. So we are currently in Bulgaria still. We're here for a few more days, and then we will be going back to Germany for the rest of the month. So I would like to do little nightly updates because it is now Q3 and my priorities have switched, and they really have switched for the last year and a half. And I think that is mostly because I am someone who does like a 5-year plan, and this is something that I talk a lot with other nomads and people that I meet while traveling, is how I organize my life and my career. And I believe that for the first 2 years of anything, it is all basic trial and error, and then around year 3 you have more of a foundation and you can use that time to pivot. I like to make my goals at a 5-year basis because of the fact that 5 years I feel is like a good amount of time. 2 years for trial and error, year 3 to really analyze the data that you found over the last 2 years, and then pivot to see how you can maximize the last 2 years. My biggest focus within these 5 years is getting my first book published. So that's where we'll start. My first big thing for Q3 is working on my book proposal with my literary agent. I signed on with him in October, and now I'm currently working on the sample chapters. I knew it was going to be a long process. And of course, you always feel like it's longer than it should be, but it's not true. Like, the amount of time it takes is the amount of time it takes. And also, since this is my first book and really the first time that I'm putting out my writing since graduate school, it has been a lot of trial and error to see where I'm going with it. So I have sent him a few sample chapters, and he read through them and he likes them, but they are blog ready, not book ready. And I really, really understand that from doing my first podcast interview, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But after doing that podcast interview and him looking at another sample chapter, he really told me to take some time, write some bad drafts, and then get back to it. So I have taken the month and I have written a bunch of bad drafts, and I have really focused on what it is, the intention of the book, and just now my main focus is on that first chapter of learning how to grab people's attention. So that is what I am focusing on in terms of the book. I'm working on the first chapter to make sure that it can be the best that it can be. The whole book obviously does not need to be finished yet because of the fact that depending on what publishing house purchases it, the structure of the book may change, but the beginning chapters are up to me in order to show the editors at these publishing houses that this is a book that will have an audience. And because of the fact that my audience is younger, I'm looking to have my target audience be 11. It could be 11. I was saying 13 to 25 because of the fact that I'm writing a book that I wish I had when I was younger. I always knew that even before I was diagnosed with dyslexia and ADD, I knew instantly that I wanted to travel the world and that I wanted to tell stories and that I wanted to be a photographer. I don't know where the idea came from. Pretty sure I saw a National Geographic magazine at the age of 10 and figured out that that was a job and something that you could be paid for. And I said, this is what I'm going to spend my life doing. And that was it. Of course, art and other things, I'm very curious because I do have ADHD and they are skills that I am very good at, but that I knew was going to be my main focus. I'm a very curious person, and I was always obsessed with Italy and with Rome and ancient Egypt, and I knew I was going to travel. So now that I reached my goal of visiting all 7 continents while working on the ship. I knew it was time before I hit 35 that I wanted to publish this book. Does it matter that I do it before 35? Absolutely not. Was it a goal that I just gave myself so that I could get things into motion? Yes. So we are working on the first chapters for the book proposal in order to make sure that I can get picked up by a publishing house. And to go along with working on my book proposal, I decided to start a podcast where I interview female travel writers who have traditionally published travel memoirs. And I did my first one with Bridget, and it was The River's Daughter, and her book just came out June 3rd. I did the interview on May 12th, and it wasn't my best interview. We had some technical issues. I still haven't finished the edit. I was hoping to have it out at the beginning of June, and now it's July, but the point of it is that I'm going to get it out because it's something that I need to push myself to do. When I got sidetracked with other things, because the WITS conference happened, and then we went to Rome, and then we were in Germany, and now we just had the Digital Nomad Fest. So now I'm getting back to it. And because I have to do a lot of editing, I've realized that the way I was formulating questions and just running on before her answers, I do want to re-record my questions and then just snap in her answers to that. I did just think about publishing it as is and then just doing a little intro in the beginning, but I also want it to be educational and entertaining, and I don't know if I was the reverse and I was the listener, if I would find it entertaining to listen to how I asked certain questions. So I think just to make it more valuable and maybe to shorten it a little, I do need to re-record my questions. And I also need to get more women to interview. I've reached out and people have said yes, but then I haven't heard follow-up, so I do need to track them down, which is one of my big topics in Q3. So I am working on my book proposal and I am working on my podcast. And mostly this podcast, I don't know if I really like it. I do like to listen to podcasts, and mostly I'm doing it because I feel it is educational, and I don't want to focus on just the writing, but I want to focus on the story before the book was published. Like, how long did it take you to get this done? From birth of conception of birth of idea to published book, like what was it like? How many literary agents did you have to go through, and how many publishing houses did you have to go through? So like I want to ask all the questions. And even Bridget, it took her 22 years in total, she said, to get this book from idea to published, because of the fact of not only is it just hard in the industry, but because of the fact that she had childhood trauma that is part of the book. And I really liked talking to her also because of the fact that I asked, like, where do you see this book? Like, what was the intention? And she is also someone who is now trying to write 2 more books after it. And I really reflect with that, because now that I've started this first book, I would also like to turn this into a 3-part series where I've already started book 2 and book 3 that go along with book 1. So I plan to interview her in the future, and I think it's just something valuable for people who want to be travel writers, especially women, to see what it is the process is, and to understand that you're not alone, which is also the reason that my target audience is 13 to 25, because when I was younger, this was the information that I was looking for. It's hard. Men are a big dominant in the travel industry, especially when it comes to publishing. And I have always been looking, like, female travel memoirs are my favorite genre after historical fiction. So that is what my intention is for having a younger target audience, to fill a need that I needed filled. And because of the fact that traditional publishing gets you into libraries. So of course I want to be paid for people to purchase my books, but getting into libraries is how you build long-term readers because they have free access to it, which is extremely important at that age. You know, you don't make money when you're 13. And you can't purchase your own things. So like, and you know, you're just trying to establish yourself when you're an older teen and into your 20s and things like that. So being in a library is how I support libraries, because libraries are a huge, huge thing that I think all communities need. Reading is very, very important, and especially in this stage with AI and everything like that, we need books more than ever is what I think. So yes, so that is where we are in terms of book proposal and my podcast. So moving on with other things. So for Q2, I also want to reflect on the fact that I attended my first WITS, and which was Women in Travel Summit, and I got my first affiliate work. So at some point this week, I need to finish. I started working with Walks and Devour Tours, and I did a tour with them in Rome. So I'm very glad that something came out of WITS, and that was getting my first affiliate work. So I'm grateful for that, and I'm looking to build that up as well. And then also from the Digital Nomad Fest, I met a lot more people, saw some people that I've already known, but the one thing that was really intriguing to me that I learned about while I was here was UGC, so user-generated content, affiliate and things like that. That is something that I'd really like to get into for Q2 that relates with my affiliate work and also my blogging work. So that's something that I'm working on. And then in terms of travel, I hit my 43rd country, so I'm very excited about that. Bulgaria was number 43. I also went to Art Basel, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yes, so that was in terms of conferences, I thought it was really great to go to WITS, and it was also beneficial to go to the Digital Nomad Fest, and most of the connections and networking that I was trying to do was for writing, but also for affiliate work. So that's something that I'm going to be working on for Q3. And then I think I mentioned in some videos that I've also wanted to get back into curatorial work. At the moment, I have not been very lucky because of the fact that we travel full time. It does make it difficult to work with museums, but I have attended Art Basel and TIFA. I do get to go to TIFA when I'm in New York because one of the friends that I worked at the European Culture Academy with in Venice, she works for TIFA, so when she's in New York I get to go see her, and that was great. Being at the fair is amazing, and then going to Art Basel for the first time was just really solidified the fact that I do want to get back into curatorial work. At the moment, I did take a sales position with Museum Climate Control, and they work on generators that help protect artwork within the building, and it is an active system instead of a passive system, so it's something that gives you back data. It changes the climate control in the case or in the building depending on people, and that's something that's really going to be very popular in the future. And one of the other reasons that I've decided to go to ICOM in November, and it's in Dubai, so I'm very, very excited for that, which is the International Council of Museums. So it's not exactly the curatorial work that I wanted to be doing, but it is involved in museums and in archival work, so it is something that I am going to give a try. I'm not sure 100% how it's going to go work out because it is a sales position at the moment, but we're going to see what happens. So, and in terms of doing more conferences, I am also going to go to the Travel Blogging Exchange. So I am hoping to build even more affiliate work up and build up my network and everything like that. So I'm very, very grateful the fact that I got to do 3 travel conferences this year, and then 3 curatorial and museum conferences. It's amazing being able to go to 6 conferences in a year is a lot and is expensive, and but I think extremely beneficial in the long run, especially since even ICOM, like Women in Travel and TIFA and the Art Basel and the Travel Blind Exchange, they happen in multiple locations, multiple times a year. ICOM is something that only happens every 3 years, and it is a very industry-led conference, and this is going to be a huge event in Dubai at the World Trade Center in Dubai. So I'm very excited to see what that experience is going to be like, and I am excited to work with other people. Even at the Digital Nomad Fest, I did meet a few artists, so I am trying to see if maybe there's something that I can create, because I have been getting back into drawing and creating work. I do miss that experience, so that's something that I've been looking into. Maybe if I can't do curatorial work, then I can do artist work. So that is something that I'm thinking about doing. And then in terms of fitness, I have reached my personal goal of holding a crow pose for a minute. So now I'm getting back into, because in 2019 I had a really bad injury. I had a herniated disc, and I basically wasn't able to walk for like 6 months. And that, for someone who runs and does yoga and has always been an athlete, it is devastating not being able to stand straight. I did have an experience when I was younger. I did not fully rotate while I was doing a tuck, and I ended up landing on my shoulder, and for about a good 6 months I couldn't, this was as high as my arm would go. I lost full mobility in my shoulder because of the fact that I had landed on it, because I didn't fully rotate. My boyfriend at the time and my roommate basically had to dress me because I couldn't even get my shirt on and everything. So since then I haven't had too bad of any injuries, but in 2019 I did have a herniated disc, and I wasn't able to walk straight for 6 months. And then finally I've been building it up, but that last mobility in my lower lumbar, where I'm able to hold shoulder stands and handstands, is non-existent. I have been building it back up, but obviously it has been taking some time. I am able to do wall-assisted shoulder stands and handstands, but I used to be able to walk on my hands, so not being able to be back at that physical level is just not acceptable for me. It is something that I would like to, I had the ability before, and now I would like to get it back. Especially as you age, the biggest thing is to be able to keep your muscle mass. That's one of the first things that goes. And then unfortunately, as you age and you lose muscle mass, people don't end up dying of old age. They end up dying because of the fact that they unfortunately fell, and because they didn't have the muscle, well, they fall because they lose muscle strength, and then recovery ends up, sometimes you end up not being able to recover depending on how bad the fall is. So that is something that I really, really strive for, is the ability to have that muscle strength. And yes, being able to walk on my hands is not a necessary thing to live, but I know it will help in terms of me living a very healthy long-term life. So that's something that I am trying to get back to. So yeah, so Q1 and Q2 have been very good. I've done a lot of trial and error, especially after last year, seeing who I want to work with, what I want to do. So, and especially since we only have 6 months left in year 2, I think even year 3, I'm going to feel a little more grounded, but I still have a lot of work to do to be where I want to be. I'm hoping that by year 3, I will have this book, at least have a deal, if not published. So it all depends. It all depends on how things go with my sample chapters, and to see who would like to purchase the book. I'm not going to give it up, and I hopefully won't have to shelf it, but we will just have to see. In the long run, I don't have any intention on self-publishing it, just because of the fact that my intention is to have it in libraries and to have it in schools, and for it to be accessible to a new, younger generation of females who want to travel. So that's important for me. So yeah, so we are working on a book proposal. We are working on a podcast. We are working on our network. We are working on our affiliates. We are working on handstands and shoulder stands. We are working on running. I'm still running. I did hit my goal within Q2, which I did hit, was under a 12-minute mile. So we are still working on that. And I'm very grateful to be going back to Germany, because where my boyfriend's family lives in Germany is in the Black Forest. So I could just run for miles, which I really, really like. I am a picky runner when it comes to some destinations, mostly because I run long distance. I just want flat plains, and I don't want to think about it. I just want to be able to run. I do make a loop out of it, which is nice. I don't like to run and then have to run back, because then you're like, oh, I gotta run so far. It's just nice to be able to run in a loop and then you're done. You don't have to think about halfway points. So yes, we're still working on running, building affiliate links. Not sure where we're going to end up at the end of the year. We might be in New Zealand, we might be in Australia, and we'll just see. So we have things planned out till November. I'm very excited, because after Ireland, I get to go home and see my family, and then I'll go to Dubai and I'll meet up with my partner. And so it's a lot for the next 6 months, but I'm very excited and I think it's going to be great. And yeah, so for the rest of July, I'm going to try to do mini updates. Nightly updates seem good. See where the process is. I think it'll be a good personal experience. And thank you for hanging out with me and doing a little update. And if you have a goal that you want to work on for Q3, comment down below. If you have any questions, if you're looking for anything, if you have any travel questions or anything, let's just get a conversation going. And I'm very excited to see where the rest of Q3 is going to take us. Thanks for checking in.